Hello, and welcome to the special presentation for this week. My name is Glenn Tompkins, and I'm a senior instructor here at VectorVest. This week's presentation is entitled, A Roadmap to Finding the Best Stocks. Now, everybody strives to find the best stocks to invest in, stocks that will increase in value after you've bought them. Well, VectorVest is well suited to help you to find the best stocks or the creme de la creme at any time at your fingertips. That's what makes us unique and, in my opinion, better than any other service that's out there. The best stocks have specific characteristics, and tonight we will walk through what makes them the best. Now, why are we unique? Well, we have indicators only found here to accomplish this goal. Let's talk about a couple of them. The first one we're going to talk about is relative safety. Now keep in mind that this is one of our core proprietary indicators, which is cast on a scale of 0 to 2, where above 1 is favorable. Relative safety is an indicator of risk, and that's important. When you're looking for some of the best stocks, you don't want to be in risky stocks, and this indicator helps you to identify which stocks are riskier than others. It looks at the consistency and predictability of a company's financial performance. In layman's terms, does this company make money quarter over quarter, year over year? Because those are the types of companies that become in the category of best stocks. Once again, this indicator is cast on a scale between 0 and 2, where above 1 is favorable. The higher above 1 it is, the safer the stock is. The next indicator, earnings per share, or EPS. Now keep in mind, we've talked about this being the engine behind driving a stock's price higher. This is a leading 12 months earnings per share. We get that question a lot. Why does our earnings per share not match up to what you find on the internet? Well, this is a leading 12-month earnings per share. Now, it tracks a combination of recent earnings performance and traditional fiscal and/or calendar year earnings forecasts. In essence, it tells us where earnings should be at this time next year. Now, when I can look at that data, I can see that where earnings are right now, should they be higher next year? Now, at this time next year, and if this is the engine that drives the stock's price higher, I can see if this is a good engine or a sputtering engine. The next indicator that we're going to look at today is going to be sales and sales growth. Now, for every engine, you need to have fuel. This is the fuel behind the engine. Now, sales growth is the growth rate of sales in percent over the last 12 months. Keep in mind, a company that sells their product tends to make money. The higher they can grow their sales, the more it adds to the bottom line, and then incorporate having good earnings. All right, so keeping all of this in mind, these are some of the real core basics to help you to find the best stocks. Now, some other things to keep in mind. Dividend analysis. Some of these companies pay dividends. Now, it's interesting because people on the internet will give you stocks that have high dividend yields. Be careful chasing yields. We have a great indicator that will help to keep you out of the yield trap, and that is YSG. We analyze dividends better than anybody out there, and we have a master indicator called YSG, only found in VectorVest. And we also have several great watch lists to help you to find dividend-paying stocks. Now, think about it. Relative safety, we're looking at earnings growth rate, we're looking at a lot of sales. There's a lot of things that incorporate this roadmap to get you to these kinds of stocks. Okay, let me show you how the VectorVest system can help you to hone in on these characteristics in a simple manner. We're going to get into the software, and we're going to start off with our stock viewer. To get there, we go to the Viewers tab at the top. We're going to move over to the Stock Viewer. We'll simply click on it. Now, when we open up the Stock Viewer, this is an enormous spreadsheet of the almost 9,000 stocks that we track, and they're sorted by our master indicator, VST. So let's do that. Make sure that we're sorted by VST because that's the default layout when we open up the stock viewer. And all of the stocks that have the best combination of value, safety, and timing will rise to the top of the list. Now, I've had this question asked. Does that mean Moderna is the best stock in the database? It is the best stock by the combination right now of value, safety, and timing. And these are sorted so the best combination will be at the top of the list. Now, what was one of the most important indicators we talked about? Relative safety, right? The stock's ability to have consistency and predictability of financial performance. Let's take this list of almost 9,000 stocks and resort it by relative safety by simply clicking on that indicator. Now, we're still looking at the almost 9,000 stocks, but now look at the list. It's different because it's sorted by the safest stocks in the database. Facebook, Google, Align, D.R. Horton, these are stocks that you already know about that are already presenting the case for being some of the best stocks in our database. Let's analyze the top few stocks here, starting with Facebook. Now, our mantra is to have you in safe, undervalued stocks that are rising in price in a rising market. Many of these will be undervalued because we assign a value to every stock, but some of them may be overvalued. Because they're overvalued doesn't make it a bad stock. Actually, I've done a special presentation called Glamour stocks, where stocks that are overvalued but that have good upside potential may not be bad plays. And notice that any of these stocks that are overvalued, like West Farm, look at the relative value at 1.48. These stocks still do have good upside potential. What else do we have? All the relative safeties, nicely higher above 1, relative values. Look at the earnings per share. Remember, that's the engine that drives the stock's price higher. Positive earnings, look at the earnings growth rate. Double-digit earnings growth rate. So the companies make money and they grow that they make their money. Let's talk about the fuel. Let's move over to sales growth. Look at these sales growths, double-digit sales growth, and many of these will outperform the idea of the earnings growth rate. If the sales can outperform the earnings growth rate, these are companies that are making money hand over foot, and companies that tend to make money tend to be great stocks to invest in. All right, so that is something you want to keep in mind. I'm looking at all of the characteristics and helping you walk through them. Let's graph the top 5 of them or so. Let's go take a look at their graphs. Let me pull this over. Wow, look at that. On a 1-year graph, we're looking at Facebook, and we're looking at the VectorVest simple layout. And this is what we use in our Successful Investor course. A simple way of looking at what's going on. We have the stop price. We have the stock's price shown here in earnings. Why is the stop price so important? Because once the stock's price goes below the stop price, that's the time when it gets a sell recommendation. We have relative timing. Tells us if the stock is in an uptrend or not. But here's our 2 indicators. Earnings per share, that leading 12-month indicator, look at it rise over the last year. Remember, that's the engine. Relative safety, indicator of risk, bottom left, top right. That's what we look for when we're looking for great stocks. This stock has been a buy or hold recommendation over the last year. RT is below 1. Stock is popping up today, but look at the rising earnings. I always want you to know, no matter how good a stock is, you want to make sure that it's in an uptrend before you pull the trigger. Let's go to the next stock. Good gracious, look at Google. Bottom left, top right, never went below the stop price. RT above 1, even though it's pulled back, still above 1. Look at the earnings per share. Look at the relative safety. Is that a great stock? Absolutely. Let's go to the next stock. Align. Bottom left, top right, new high, RT above 1. Look at the rising earnings, the rising relative safety. That's why these indicators are so important when determining whether or not it's a great stock. DHI, D.R. Horton. Now, interesting. What did I say? What's one of the most important things besides earnings per share and relative safety is the stock's ability to be running from the bottom left to the top right. No matter how good a stock is, this stock's probably definitely got good fundamental analysis. just not the right time to be in it. You want to make sure that the equity curve is the bottom left to the top right. So even though we're looking for the greatest stocks or the best stocks, let's make sure that they're doing exactly what we want them to do, like West Farm. Look at that. Bottom left, top right, RT above 1, rising earnings per share, relative safety higher than it was a year ago, and now rising. Again, folks, now you understand the importance of these characteristics to find us the best stocks. All right, so that's sorting by relative safety. How about this? We have a tool known as Unisearch, and this search tool can help us to hone in rather than just looking at the stock viewer. Let's go over to the Unisearch tool. We'll go up to the tab at the top that says Unisearch, and you're going to find a great search that's going to be a really good blessing to you as far as finding you these kinds of stocks. Let's go to searches, prudent. Let's go find a search called ruler stocks. We'll go right here, and let's talk about what ruler stocks is looking for. Earnings growth rate. We talked about that, right? Earnings growth rate greater than or equal to 14%. We want double digits earnings growth rate. Relative safety. That's another indicator we talked about, right? The ability to find less risky stocks. This is an indicator of risk, but it looks at the consistency and predictability of a company's financial performance. We want it to be greater than 1.4 on that scale between 0 and 2. Price actual greater than $1. And the other 4 lines that you have here, make sure that it's a Derby-ready search. Look at the sort, because it's the sort that makes a search. We're looking for relative safety times earnings growth rate. We want a good product between the two of these things. Now, let's run the search. We'll put it here. As of right now, let's run the search. And these are stocks that many of you already know about. Already good stocks. LPX, United, Repligen, NVIDIA, Micron. These are not fly-by-night companies, and what the search is doing, it's confirming a lot of what you guys already know about these companies, but the search already put them at your fingertips. Let's look at the growth rate. All right, once again, look at that earnings growth rate at 41%. Look at all of these double-digit growth rates. It's a beautiful thing. Let's go see if I can get the sales growth. Sales growth, for the most part, will be outperforming, in many cases, the earnings growth rate. But love the double digits. All of these have positive stocks or positive earnings. And the ones that pay dividends, all right, look at the stocks that pay dividends. We have an indicator called dividend safety on a scale between 0 and 99. The stock's ability to either maintain or grow their dividends. And again, not all of these have big dividend yields, but instead of chasing the yield, you want to more focus on the safety, whether it's relative safety for the stock overall or even for the dividend safety. Nice high dividend safety. All right, and again, here's our master indicator on that scale between 0 and 2. For dividends, above 1 is favorable, below 1 is unfavorable. Remember, that's just an added characteristic to finding great stocks. All right, so now we've analyzed the stocks, and now let's take this a step further. VectorVest gives you the ability to test any idea over any time you want. So I'm going to take this search, ruler stocks. I'm going to bring this back out for you. I'm going to take this search, ruler stocks, and I'm going to go back in time. We understand what the search is providing for us, good quality stocks, right? I'm going to hit the calendar box right here, and I'm going to go back 2 years. I'm going to go back to 2019, and I'm going to use my birthday. I'm going to go to March 6th, and I'm going to show you the stocks that met the criteria of ruler stocks on my birthday in 2019, just before COVID, right? CRM, FTNT, a lot of good stocks that you know about still today that were found in ruler stocks on 3/6 of 2019. I'm going to quick test the top 20 stocks. Now, this gives me raw data from point A to right now over the last 2 years, and look at this. 90.73%, where the market or the VVC went up 48%. Holy smokes, folks. We almost doubled what the market did in 2 years, finding the stocks that have the characteristics to present to you the best stocks. We had 17 winners, 3 losers, some of the best stocks that went up triple digits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stocks went up triple digits over this time period, and that's an amazing thing. So folks, understanding the characteristics that make the best stocks is important to bring that to your attention. But the VectorVest tool will easily take that information that you want from a search, present it to you, and it makes life a lot easier for you. But wait, there's more. How about if you're a more aggressive trader? And I know that, from a long-term perspective of looking at great stocks, you're looking at trades. We got something for you. Let me get back to my slides. From the same standpoint of trying to find the best stocks, the roadmap to the best stocks, how about we have something called Trade Like a Pro? For those traders, we can take you through the same process to show you ideas or trading systems by pros to help you to accomplish what you want from a trading perspective. We have a link here called www.vectorvest.com/trade like a pro. If you click on that list, we're going to help you to get into 3 webcasts, 3 free webcasts next week that talks about how to trade like a pro. You don't want to miss this, especially if you're a more aggressive trader. Make sure you register now. So from that, folks, I'd like to say thank you for joining me for this presentation. Hopefully you found it useful. For those of you who've been with us for a while, maybe this is a refresher. For those of you that may be newer with us, at least we've now presented a roadmap to help you to find some of the best stocks out there in the market. Run with it, go make some money. And with that, folks, until the next time, see ya.